If you want to know real estate prices better than a local, here's your monthly update for the Windsor, Ontario real estate market. First, we're going to go through a general overview of the market and then average prices in each neighborhood of Windsor, including how much homes tend to go over asking. Since I did my last in-depth video of Windsor, Ontario, which was back at the peak of the market in February, I said this: it's extremely difficult to get a decent detached house for under $400,000 anymore. That's not true anymore. Since I shot that last video in February, we dropped about $200,000 in average price, as you can see in this TikTok video / Instagram reel I made over here. You can now safely get a fully renovated 2 to 3 bedroom bungalow in a decent area for around the 400s, maybe 300s if you're lucky. So the average residential sales price for October of 2022 was $542,000, which was about $20,000 more than September. This is the second time since March that Windsor prices have gone up. We have a lot of development going on in this city right now, including the Stellantis electric vehicle battery plant, the Amazon warehouse, the new bridge being built, and the mega hospital coming in about 8 to 9 years. This is a lot happening for a smaller city, so I can see Windsor prices rebounding in the years to come for sure. I work full-time as a realtor in Windsor, Ontario with my team, WindSocial Realty, so I follow the market religiously over here. What I've noticed this past year is that the market has seemed to reach a major slowdown in August to mid-September, and now I'm starting to see it pick back up a little bit, and the numbers are proving it. I'm seeing multiple offer situations on homes, especially starter homes. Now we're gonna go through the neighborhood by neighborhood analysis using my Windsor, Ontario real estate price guide, which you can get for free in the link in my bio. It's updated monthly. So let's go check it out. Okay, so here's the Windsor, Ontario price guide and market update. It's about 27 pages long and includes like neighborhood analyses, a general overview. So we're just gonna get right into it. Going down to overall trends, it's kind of stuff we discussed here. The average sales price was $542. The number of listings has gone down compared to last month, but compared to the property sold, we're like about 50-50 here. And back in July, there were about 1,500 listings with about 390 sales. So this is a little bit of an improvement here. The average sales price has gone up obviously from last month. Something to note here, I like to look at what different style homes have sold for as well. So you can see the bungalows have typically sold for $421. You'll find these typically in central Windsor, Remington Park, and we'll go through those neighborhoods in a bit. 2 stories are more expensive, around $780. You'll find those in South Windsor, maybe South Walkerville. The raised ranch over here is a little more expensive. Those are popular in East Windsor, the Forest Glade area, and Tecumseh, the ranches as well. And then you have the 1.5 stories, which are surprisingly the cheapest. There are a lot of 1.5 stories in the Walkerville and downtown area, so that could be a reason why. Going down, we have the town of Tecumseh over here. So this is the very east end of Windsor. The average list price was $621, average sold price $651. So homes tend to go a little bit over asking over here, at least for this month. You can see the maximum sold price was 1.4 mil, so they can get expensive in this area, and the minimum was 300K, so you can find some cheaper ones. Maybe that was a 2-bed bungalow. So continuing on, here's a summary of Tecumseh. If you want in-depth summaries of each neighborhood, I do have a Windsor, Ontario video that you can check out. It'll go through like a drive-by of the neighborhood, very in-depth detail. Just to do a general overview in this one, it's like a more expensive East Windsor. So it is more expensive. There's good walking trails, very good schools, very great for a family, not so great for cash flow if you buy homes here at market price. Moving on, town of LaSalle. This is another expensive area of Windsor. The max price here is $949. Normally it's higher than Tecumseh, but this month is different. The minimum sold price was $329. So homes still tend to go a little bit over asking here. We're at $620 for average list, $624 for average sold. This is the fanciest area in Windsor, Essex. You're gonna find everything you could possibly want in a neighborhood. The best schools, best walking trails. It's hard to find a good investment property here where the numbers make sense because it is like an A+ class neighborhood. Not surprising to find 2-story homes that sell for 1 to 2 mil here. Coming into East Windsor, average sold price was $398, list price $386. Things are still going over asking here. So the minimum was $275. I think I know which one that was. The max was $470, surprisingly. So still going a little bit over asking. asking. This area of Windsor, we're just a little bit past Jefferson here and right before Tecumseh. It's a B+ to A class neighborhood. If you want a good family neighborhood that's more affordable, East Windsor is your place to be. Good schools, obviously not as bougie as LaSalle or Tecumseh, but it's still a very good place to live. So good potential for appreciation within the next few years. There's going to be a couple thousand workers coming to this area right here. Forest Glade is probably going to blow up. South Windsor, another expensive area of Windsor, Ontario. Normally out-of-town people know, everyone knows South Windsor. It's more affordable than LaSalle. It's probably on par with Tecumseh. Things tend to go over asking here as well. So the maximum price was $635 here last month. Minimum was $140. I really wonder, I haven't seen that one yet, but you rarely see something that low in South Windsor. Maybe it was a burnt down house. I'm not sure. But so average list price was $506. Average sold price was $524. So $18K over asking. South Windsor is an A class neighborhood. This looks like A-, but I mean A class. So one of the most expensive parts of Windsor. You're gonna find more newer homes here. It's close to really good school districts like Massey, really good shopping. Devonshire Mall is in this area. Also very popular for basement ADU conversions because a lot of homes here do have tall basements. So if you're looking into an ADU conversion area, South Windsor is probably your place to be. It's also, you know, cheaper than LaSalle and Tecumseh. Moving on, Ford City. This is a little bit backwards from the first few we were looking at. So this is definitely one of the cheapest parts of Windsor. A lot of Windsorites would consider this area sketchy. It has been sketchy in the past, and it still is a little bit, but it is definitely coming up. There is a lot of development going on here. Windsor has an improvement program, and they're giving investors a bunch of money to improve this area of Windsor. So right now, still cheap. If you want a better area of Ford City, the area above Seminole Street is the best area. Below Seminole Street, between Seminole and Tecumseh, still a little bit sketchy. Very cheap sold prices here. So $270 for average sold price. List price was $240. Still going over asking here. I mean, it depends on what realtors want to do with, you know, their listing strategy. Sometimes they'll still do the bidding war strategy where they list under and then, you know, get a higher price. Continuing on, here's a bit of a summary. It's a C- to C class neighborhood. Lots of history here, as I mentioned. The commercial strip above Seminole Street has been revitalized and is good for rentals. Below Seminole is a little rough. The new Amazon warehouse will also be within 1 kilometer of here, so that is super exciting. If you want to know more about the Ford City Community Improvement Plan, I have the link in my price guide. Make sure to sign up for it. It's completely free, super useful if you're buying real estate in Windsor or selling. Continuing on, Central Windsor. It's in Central Windsor, so it's one of the cheaper areas of Windsor. This is the perfect cheaper family neighborhood or a cheaper place to get a rental property. You're going to typically find, you know, the bungalows in this area. So if you remember, the average price of a bungalow was around $420K. You're going to find most of them in Central Windsor. Average sold price was $370, which is one of the cheapest in Windsor. Not as cheap as Ford City or Sandwich, but still very reasonable price. Average list price was $365. The average goes almost like $10K over asking here. Here's a little summary of it. I already kind of hit the points here. Perfect for seniors looking to downsize, perfect for investors, perfect for people looking for starter homes as well. Continuing on, South Walkerville, one of my favorite neighborhoods personally. Lots of history here. It's like a bougier Walkerville. The average sold price was $470 here. Average list was $460. It typically goes over like $13K over asking. South Walkerville, it is one of the oldest parts of Windsor. You're going to find Victorian mansions in the more southern parts of it. Absolutely gorgeous. Has one of the best dog parks. Extremely family friendly, but you are going to find like older wartime homes here, older Victorian homes here. So if you're into the older homes, this is a great area. If you want something newer, look at LaSalle or Tecumseh. Those are your best bets. Continuing on, Remington Park. If you want to be close to South Walkerville, but want a cheaper area to live in, normally the difference between Remington and South Walkerville is more. So you can see the average sold price was $460 last month. So there have been things that have sold for a little bit more here recently. So average list price was $472. Surprisingly, things have gone under asking asking last month over here, but we've only seen about 5 homes sold there, or 7 homes, sorry, 7 listings. Remington Park, you're gonna find bungalows here as well. Cheaper area to live in. It's newer than South Walkerville. They're separated by the train tracks there. So it does feel a little bit isolated just because of the train tracks there, and then the other side of it is the expressway. Surprisingly, for it being a little bit isolated, it is a very good family-friendly neighborhood. It's just a little bit annoying navigating the streets because you have to like go around the train tracks or go around EC. Just something to keep in mind, but very good for investors, starter homes, or people looking to downsize. Very similar vibe to Central Windsor. We have Walkerville. This is my favorite place to invest. I got an investment property here. Typically a cheaper area of Windsor as well. So it's in like that perfect mid-range. You'll get like B-class tenants over here if you're looking to invest. If you want to live there, it's not too family friendly unless you're around the Willisted area, but very good for young professionals. It's a very trendy area. Anyways, average sold price was $378, which is very reasonable. Things have only gone, you know, about 4.4K over asking here. For this neighborhood, it's an A+ to B- class, so there's a huge range in this area. The A+ is going to be the direct vicinity around Windsor Park. It is not uncommon to find $1 to $2 million homes here. Like, we're talking huge Victorian mansions. Like, it's insane. And the B-class neighborhoods are going to be closer to Wyandotte, but away from the West End. B-, like the closer you get to West Walkerville is where it gets a little more sketchy, but it's still a decent area for renters. I think in this area, it's very good to buy long-term multifamily properties here. That's what I have over there. You'll find solid B-class properties. Prices are very reasonable anywhere outside Windsor Park, unless you're looking for a Victorian mansion. Look over there. Now we are looking at downtown. This is, again, one of the cheapest areas of Windsor. I'm surprised the average sold price was near 400K this month. Normally, it's a little bit less. You're gonna find older homes here. Unfortunately, downtown also has the highest crime rate in all of Windsor, Ontario. There is a huge over asking last month in this area, so realtors probably implemented the bidding war strategy here. Anyways, downtown summary, it's a B- to C+ class neighborhood. You got Olette Hospital, a lot of nightclubs over there, the casino, Detroit Windsor Tunnel, lots of good food down there, but again, high crime rate. And also, it's very common for 19 to 20-year-olds to cross the border and party over here because they can legally drink in Canada but not in the US till they're 21. So it can get really rowdy on the weekends, and no judgment there. It helps our economy, but not too family friendly. We're at the university area now. The average sold price was $357 here. List was $336, so things are still going over asking in this area. So obviously, university area, really good for student rentals. Not so great for a family environment. You are going to find a lot of people living in houses with a lot of rooms and renting per room. It's a B- class neighborhood. Typically, rooms over there rent for $500 to $750, with the $750 being more luxury oriented. Decent place for a student, not so great for family. Okay, so now we're in Sandwich Town here. The average sold price is $349, which is still pretty cheap. List is $337, so things have been going over asking over here. There is like a pretty sketchy part right here, if you can see where my mouse is, and then these parts right here are a little bit better, so I can see that there's a lot of houses that have sold here. Typically this would be closer to Ford City prices, still one of the cheapest in Windsor. So if we go to the summary over here, it's a C+ to C- class neighborhood. One of the rougher parts of Windsor is offering incentives to investors to upgrade this area. So the commercial strip near the university, right on Sandwich Town, if we go back up here, so like right around here, there is a lot of businesses that students go to. There's like a brewery, really good nightlife over here. For rentals, they might be a little more maintenance. Again, there's like more crime there. There's more pest issues there. It is coming up though because of the city incentives. Also, unfortunately, there are some abandoned houses in the area because they're owned by the Canadian Transit Corporation, which is the company owned by the bridge. So they're letting those houses kind of rot there. It's an unfortunate reality, but that's part of of the reason why Sandwich Town is still a little bit sketchy. Moving on to Amherstburg. This is actually a town. A lot of people ask me to include this. This isn't really part of Windsor, but it is a town about a half hour away from Windsor. It has the lowest crime rate in all of Ontario. Very cute little town. Great for families. There's a lot of new development going over there. They're getting like a boutique hotel in downtown. So average sold price, $522 here. List price is $508. So things still tend to go a little bit over asking here, but you can see the max price here, $972. They don't have too many listings that sold last month, only 16. So over here, this is very likely new developments that sold as well as over here. So that'll drive the price up a little bit. You could definitely find newer developments over there for a lot cheaper than you could anywhere in Windsor. That is pretty much my Windsor, Ontario price guide. I update this every single month and I'll have a YouTube video out every month. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and sign up for this free resource that I work so hard to update every single month. Have a good rest of your month.